Let's hope that the technology works in this corner of the room. I am getting an internet connected inside the office so that in the studio I can actually stream directly towards you guys. So I'm hoping that the actual sound is coming through loud and clear. So the first person to connect, please feel free to tell me, because I have updated the technology. It's been arduous. I can't even explain it. I'm trying to get the technology to directly work. So I have upgraded the microphone, and then Windows decided to do some upgrades, which then disconnected the microphone altogether. So I'm really glad, because the thing has driven me batshit crazy. Excuse my French. But I have actually done a comical video, which I did put on my private Facebook page, and I will do a little bit of editing and I will update it, and you can have an absolute laugh, because when I was editing, you know, it was coming through and it was driving me crazy. Now, I want to tune into collective energy. I've been, over the last few days, having very interesting conversations. In the background, I have been trying to record the videos for clients, get the videos done for February, also do a lot of research. So tuning into collective energy, and with the private conversations I have in the morning, I have a ritual in the morning. I think we all do have rituals, which is, you know, it's what helps us in our day, and it's the things we do. So 9 times out of 10, I'm up pretty early. So I haven't washed my face, and I've got a bit of makeup hair, but I wanted to come to you guys away from the ego and actually talk about the energy. Tuning into some of the things psychically. Now, you will notice, and I've got to really squint to look at this. Now, those of you that have Pisces in your chart, have a look at where that's coming. Now, collectively speaking, we do have, let me look, Neptune. Okay, with Neptune at the moment, when it does come to your delusions and illusions, plus obviously it can be quite 5D, all of us collectively are going to be very psychic at the moment. Thanks, Star. And any questions, I'll do super chat at the very end. So if you're wanting a super chat question, we'll just get into the read and then we'll save it for the very end, and I'm happy to answer any of your questions. I also do need to do the live feed, which will be all, I'll pick days. So, you know, don't stress. Yildiz Readings channel is changing. I'm working fiercely behind the scene to get everything moving so that you have consistency when it comes to when the videos are being released. I will be opening a video to ask questions from you guys of the format if you'd like. Every month you will get a monthly look in for your zodiac sign, but I'm actually wanting to build on that. But it really does come down to numbers on the videos. I was doing videos before tuning into situations psychically and doing it per zodiac sign, but I find if I'm not getting enough watching the video, it just really isn't worthwhile actually applying all of that energy. So I really do want to get it to the point where it's governed around what you guys are actually wanting and needing. If that be more information videos, which I am going to be doing, very much connecting in with Twin Flame Path. Definitely going to keep doing the moon energies, which this video is going to be covering, and collective energy, obviously. But I will pick days that I will come to you at a permanent basis for super chat. If you can't afford a free, you know, an actual reading, I will come to you during the month and have a set date, and I'll specify when that is and put it in the community tab. And I may even put it in the banner inside the actual channel art, so you know the exact day I'll be coming to you. But keep informed in the community post and I'll give you updates there. Hi, love. Okay, so collectively speaking, I have been tuning in, and this morning I got a very interesting energy. Now, for the last few days, there has been a lot of sacral chakra activation. Sacral chakra, bear with me. I'm just going to look at something. Yes, sacral chakra, that thing there. Now, a lot of you might have been experiencing pain in your abdomen. Now, this could have been your digestion, your body. It might have been anything to do with that. You know, when you're eating, is your food settling? Are you moving away from particular food groups? Are you feeling off? Okay, now, at a collective level, the downloads I've been having is very unique. Now, many of you that have done a lot of spiritual work on yourself, it may not be your energy, but see, what tends to happen is if you're on a spiritual path, you do become psychic, and that's the best. And all of us are collectively. And so what it is the development of your intuition, the integration of connecting in with all of your chakras. So you're connecting in with those energy ports. And I did have a very in-depth conversation with Mark, and I have with Giggle, and I've been, between the downloads that we've been getting with synchronistic patterns, I've really been noticing some changes. Now, this morning I have been for about a week experiencing this. And, as empaths, what does tend to happen is, yes, it can be your energy. It can also be a blockage. Now, that chakra does govern fear. It also governs your fight and flight, your temptation. It's very much the Capricorn frequency. Now, we did have the conjunction in Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn. So theoretically, the devil energy within the temptation chakra, it's a positive chakra, but if it's imbalanced, it can cause dark situations, i.e. especially very linking in with your subconscious mind. Neptune at the moment is in Pisces. So what can happen if you've done work on yourself? Hi, Fem Coach. Yes, we will be doing a live together if I can get organised. There's so much going on. What tends to happen is your auric field is open. So while you are protecting your auric field and you're in self-awareness, we kind of bounce between two realms. We can get to the point that when we're working on a physical task, we're very 3D. Then you must integrate, spirituality is a unique thing. I look at it more so from the perspective that when I look at astrology, I'm in my mindfulness, I'm in my comprehension, I'm potentially a bit away from ego because I'm looking at it from an external way of viewing something. And then I can base it down to the 3D. So you might be working on something and you become very 3D. You're not in your, you may be grounded, but you're pouring all of your energy into that, which can be a very positive thing. When you're focusing, however, on a problem and there's no solution, again, it becomes the egoic mind of attempting to problem solve, but you're just remaining in the loop. So you're thinking on the direct situation, which can disempower you. Now, when that happens, because the mind is also very much, your emotions and your feelings, the underwater Neptune, again, these manifestations we're actually deciphering up are linking in with your subconscious mind, your psyche, but they can become distorted because your egoic mind isn't understanding how to proceed forward. Now, with the nodes being in Capricorn and Cancer, those energies will still, although we're closing out the eclipse in Capricorn around June, July, and I do have the dates, but they're hidden there under the table, that will be closing out that cycle, which will synchronistically have two energies playing out. So those of you that have done work in your life to do with, and a lot of spirituality, when you're moving through adversity, we're having the directs and we're having the retrogrades. We go through a chain of events. So with this Aquarius moon, it's going to be a calm. There are some aspects to the conjunction we had coming up that can bring up some situations. So whatever has come to a head in your life that has been a main theme this month, it may be showing itself in a different way just to make sure you're on track. A lot of the work you did last year, and you have done potentially from even all the way back to 2012 and beyond, if you do look back to how long and arduous that process has been, many of you that are in the awakened state, so to speak, we talk about it in layman's terms of, doing the inner child work, which is solar plexus, sacral chakra, again, has been coming up. When we do that and we understand that we do have inner power, that yes, we can have experiences of the past, but it doesn't directly mean that the future is going to play out that way. It's a bit like a science experiment. Our mind, though, refers back to a situation that has transpired and tells us that, oh my goodness grief, is this ever going to happen again? Which is very rational, and it's a warning system that has been created for us because it's and we say we need to learn and build trust with our intuition. Many of you, if you have had to purge that and you've been like, how can I trust my intuition? Because this wouldn't have happened if I had only listened to my intuition and I didn't sense it in my intuition, so why has it happened? It's not your fault, but it's about actually releasing and knowing that, because that can be victim consciousness as well, especially when we're very dense in the 3D. And that's not a judgment. That's where you will reach when you move through your process. You'll be looking at it from a different angle and realizing that it's a them problem. It's not a you. Yes, it can cause a vibration in your life. It can affect the vibration of where you are, but it's rewiring you to believe in your intuition. And even with your intuition being present, there is a reality where you do come to that you understand you don't have control over everything. That everything is in fact divinely guided, but if your intuition is telling you and guiding you to do something and you don't listen to it, yes, that is a you problem and there will be a consequence for an action. So a lot of a spiritual path in the initial stages will be activated potentially through a person, place, or thing. Can even be for those of you that are twin flames. But then it brings it back to you in a mirrored effect that your soul has lessons, and even if you want to help somebody, some of these lessons have to be experienced in order to be finalized so they never have to repeat that cycle. So some of that's lagged. Many of you have worked very hard on yourselves. So a lot of what you did learn last year and the year before is going to directly be applied to 2020. Now, as the nodes shift in March, we're going to have Mercury retrograde in February. Venus is going to be in Aries, which can be quite a direct, it can be quite disconnected. It can be looking at it from, this is what I need and that's what it is. Juno is going to be going retrograde in Libra. So again, that's the judgment card in the tarot. It's about judgments, contracts, partnerships. We've had the nodes in Cancer and Capricorn. So there's themes and storylines playing out. But it's almost like, you know, jumping in the sink and universe swirling it around to try and go, okay, now absorb all of that in. And during the Aquarian moon, what you're going to find is you're going to be absorbing a lot of things in. Things are going to reach its clarity point. Now, if they already have, you're really on the right place. You're positioned in the right place in the map. Those of you that aren't experiencing that frequency and you are having your sacral chakra activated, and it doesn't have to be that it's directly happening to you. It can be the frequencies of energies around you now, and you're directly absorbing that frequency. So Giggle was going to come on and she says, I'll just have a shower. And I said, no, don't do that, because energetically there is, with this chakra being activated, there can be energies around us that can be influencing our auric field and penetrating it, so to speak. So if you're around a person and they're very down at the moment, they're really not handling situations, they're in their third eye and they're tuning into things, and you feel even in your own life that things aren't moving forward, sometimes it's not that it's not going to move forward, it's about the art of detachment. So this stage with the Aquarian moon is going to give you an opportunity to meditate, and it is named as the water bearer. It's looking at things and being kind to yourself. It's inner nurturing. Now, once we move into the Leo moon next month, this is very similar to the crab energy, and I have been relaying it in that way within your zodiac signs, where you do need to, Leo is connecting in with the sun, which is very much masculine frequency. So all of us within our own energy can potentially be referring back to January in a sense of what came up for us, what we have dealt with for the last 2 years with the Cancer Capricorn frequencies, you know, moving through, where it's to do with our finances, our infrastructure, societies, the way things are shifting, and huge conversations between Mark and Giggle and other people I've talked to behind the scenes have come through, where we're looking at those and they don't literally relate to what is in the here and now right now. So they're breaking down. So you may see companies going bust. You might see something in your life that you're working on that maybe was codependent on a physical external source. And this can even be us codependent on the grid for electricity, for food, for water, maybe news, giving us the weather forecast. You know, sixth senses now are increasing and we're actually tuning into it more so. So these things have been playing out, as well as family-related dynamics. So it has been very much family and finances, and really moving towards accountable energy of looking at foundations in our life and really, I think it's really asking us a question. I think the meditation time and the nurturing time with the Aquarian moon is going to give us some epiphany moments. And it is about what this change is, what this change directly means, and how well we can roll with evolution and change. Inside of you, what comes out, you might be quite surprised by some blockages that may come up out of nowhere, or a belief system or a reality shift all of a sudden. Now, I find it really unique that the temptation energy has come up, which again is the Capricorn frequency with the nodes at the moment. And that eclipse, again, isn't happening to July. And I am feeling there can be something playing out between this week and the next moon phase, which is going to be a Leo moon, for you to really hone in on, okay, what are you going to utilize your Capricorn energy on? Because by March, we're having the nodes shift. And when I say this, I'm going to try and break it down and keep it very gentle so that you guys can absorb it. Because not everyone can keep up to nodes and crap like that. So when I'm talking about the Gemini frequency, it can feel like an overload of information. So potentially, if you are researching a lot of things and bouncing, it can cause anxious frequency, but it's also an overload of information. So if you have already experienced that, you're directly tuned into the matrix, because the Gemini nodes are coming through, which is connecting in with Mercury, your day-to-day travel, communication, can be paperwork, can be technology, your car. If during a Mercury retrograde, technology can be stuffing up. It's already, solar flares have been affecting that lately, so it hasn't directly been linking in with it. But Gemini are great at articulating things, but it is an overdose of information. It's like a knowledge of everything, master of none. It's like having to know too many things. So if you found yourself researching random topics, directly linking in with the nodes in Gemini. If you find you can't sleep and there's been this bombardment of overload of information and you're tuning into it again, Gemini nodes. If you're spreading yourself too fine, remember, when we have North and South node, we're looking at the one aspect of what it is and we're attempting to move towards the opposite side to really focus in on that. And so the nodes are going to be in Gemini and Sagittarius. Sagittarius links in with growth, Jupiter, but it currently is not in that sign. And I'm going to try and really articulate this correctly. If in a mindset you look at your life and you understand that your schedule, everything you've worked towards, everything you've learned, when you are covering yourself too fine, you don't get the best out of a situation. You're going to get varied results and it's going to be like dishwater. So it is about coming to that T section in the road. And it was so funny because when I was writing January, at the end, I wrote T. And I kept thinking T section in the road. And it is really a T section in the road. If you're really connected to something, the Capricorn frequency is going to say you're going to have to work hard on it. Are you committed to it? Don't waste your time. If you're not, it's like spreading yourself so fine and getting dishwater. And that would be a return. Versus the way you've dealt with things. So Sagittarians collectively may find that, in the way they were doing things before, they won't get the same results now. So it can be like a grand awakening, so to speak. So it can feel very awkward energy all of a sudden. And it may be an epiphany moment they're having that that's not the road they want to move down. That, in fact, spreading themselves too fine, appeasing everyone, listening to naysayers, gossip, it's kind of got yourself sidetracked. You wanted to go there and before you knew it, and this is the way I articulated it this morning. I have work to do and I'm on the phone. It's like, look, yes, that's great. We need to get down to business now. It's redirecting yourself. So very important to actually have a notebook, and I don't mean a computer, although you will. Really honing on what your goal is month by month, week by week. So yes, jotting down, especially during a Mercury retrograde, because there can be mishaps and you're just going to have to roll with the punches. Literally jot down what your intent is to achieve in a day, potentially, and re-navigate yourself. Give yourself allowance to be in the Gemini frequency, but move into the Capricorn frequency and look at the growth of what you're trying to achieve. Otherwise, what you're going to find is you're not going to get as much done. And there is huge opportunity in 2020 to achieve those things. So with the Aquarian moon at the moment, I find that you guys might be absorbing things, but it's because you're slowing down. So collectively, when I did tune into newbie TFs coming into the journey, and this is very separate to the Aquarius moon because I'm talking about various things in this video, but when it does come to new souls that are awakening, and this can even be karmic energies, this can even be people that are suddenly awake, and you'll notice it. They'll be seeing signs, they'll be seeing numbers, they'll be noticing patterns, they'll be feeling like they don't connect to certain food groups, certain people, almost like lying to oneself when it comes to doing certain things, and it's becoming louder, like universe is screaming at them. I'm finding, even when I tune into that energy, what's happening for those of you who have been on this awakened path for a while, you're actually directly tapping into their frequency right now. So don't be surprised if this week, moving into February as well, what you're going to see playing out, this can be on media, and I strongly suggest you don't look at it for the next few weeks. If you're grounded, you're going to be able to handle it because you understand the process that everything's divinely guided and everything happens for a reason. You have your own power, anchor your energy in, clear your chakras, and understand that this too shall pass. But with other individuals, if they are not used to this frequency, the chakra that is activating inside of you is because you're tuning into the collective, and it is very, very heavy. So this can be people you're tuning into at a lower frequency that haven't experienced this, and they're triggered as hell. They may be scared, they may be angry, they may be aggressive, they may be there could be ego connected, but it's a very brash awakening. Now, some of these things, because they're not listening to their higher consciousness, they may wish to change certain things. But they may be at a lower, denser frequency at the moment. So the way they're going to be feeling is like two things: wishing to liberate, wishing to be co-creative, but afraid. So it's like they've had a spiritual walk-in and it's being activated at the moment. So you're tapping into that energy. You may think, what the diddly-o is going on? But do remember back to your path, and this is the only way I can explain it. This is the way you're going to be seeing people waking up at the moment, and it can be quite frightening. So as much as you guys have your own soul path and the things you're wanting to achieve, you may just be looking at it going, wow. Now, what I am seeing for newbies waking up, and it sounds so cliche, new people in the world that are feeling that their life does not relate to them anymore. New people in their life feeling that this is all a joke. People then looking at their jobs and thinking, I don't owe you BS. Why have I been here? You never let me break the glass ceiling. Why am I under this foundation, this structure? Very Capricorn energy. There can be a bit of triggers coming up. So when you're going through that, you then do reach a process where you're like, I don't want to, yes, I have to. I don't want to, yes, I have to. And then it reaches a seismic close, and it can be very aggressive. Now, if you are listening to your higher consciousness, so what you're feeling, your intuition, and you're saying, I can't because of X, Y, and Z, that won't work. So this chakra that's being activated at the moment can be, this change can come about in 24 hours. And I am seeing awakening for certain pockets, especially new twin flames coming into the path, to be the most aggressive awakening ever. And I did articulate this to Giggle. We talked about it this morning. I said, could you imagine, look back on your life for those of you who have been, dealing with adversity, being empaths, feeling like the witch's cauldron, very different sort of thing. Trying to find acceptance in that. And very much all of us are trying to find acceptance. That's really as we are as humans. We're trying to find inner acceptance. Imagine doing that in a very short space of time. Now, you're awakening, directly speaking, and especially if you're a twin flame. And this by no means is linking with just twin flames. This is to do with the collective consciousness and people changing and society changing, so to speak. If you have had an arduous time doing that, mine, even if I just want to tune into just TF, has been 20 odd years. Now, we can complain about that. Yeah, people raise your hands. We can complain about it. Poor me, right? Could you imagine doing that in 5 years? Okay, let's have gratefulness. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now, the only way I can describe an awakening, and this is, I was talking to Giggle about this morning. Okay, some people are, I want to be a twin flame. I want to be an awakened soul. I want to be spiritual. Now, all of us are spiritual. We just don't listen to ourselves because you're coming home to yourself when you're doing that. That's basically what you're doing. You're giving yourself permission to say no without any apologies. It's like, I don't feel the need to. Does that upset you? I'm not sorry. How does that make? It's almost like becoming your own physical therapist within a situation where you can be like Spock on Star Trek and everyone's having some sort of emotion, which is actually emotion out of control with no airbags. I can laugh at this because I've been through it myself. Like an adult having a humanistic childlike experience, having a temper tantrum going, I don't want that. I want my ice cream now. And then when you're evolving through that, you're sort of looking back and you're going, God, I was a cow, you know. So it's like you are going through a spiritual awakening in such a condensed time. As much as some of us will whinge and say, you know, this has been so long. Look back and think, if you condensed the BS that you've been through in a short space of time, do you think it would have been any easier? Because I can honestly say, some of the experience I had, if universe shoved me in a bar mix and gave all of that to me in such a very condensed space of time, I think that's like G-forces of space for me. That's like a human lobotomy. It's too much too soon. So if you're feeling like, and look, we all do go through this, don't get me wrong, sometimes I feel bloody hard done by. If you feel hard done by and you're like, this has taken so long, it's a blessing in disguise. Your body wasn't meant for huge bombardment. It's bad enough we've got the Schumann resonance occurring and it's really spiking. So yes, that's increasing people's awakened state. It experiences distortion of the mind. It can cause, and those of us that do know about how to get grounded, we're very, very blessed. There are many people that don't know how to do this and they don't even know what's happening to themselves. So examples of this for newbies that are on the journey and newbies that don't understand what energy is. Energy will affect the frequency of what you eat. You may turn into a vegetarian randomly and you've been a meat eater all your life. You may need to rest suddenly quite a bit. You might all of a sudden see numbers. You also need to move away from the need for that, because when you see the numbers, it's about you building within your frequency your psychic channel to source. And what I'm saying in that is, do you trust yourself? Do you have belief in yourself? Have you empowered your chakras? Have you believed in the foundation of who you are? Do you believe if you have a tower moment in your life that you can step up again and again like you're in a punching ring? Do you also then believe that with that life is not meant to be a punching ring, that everything that you are entitled to will come towards you? It's conditioning that has taught you that. Do you believe that when you're a child, the things that you were taught are gospel? Because if you do and you haven't questioned it, there's something wrong. And it's not to say that what you were taught was wrong. Do you relate to it? Or are you using your experience from that time frame as that's all there is? Because you will really struggle if that's so. You might have a decision that you want to make and it feels very different to your tribe, or it feels very different to your family, or it could be all of a sudden you're looking at it and you're thinking, I didn't think it was supposed to be so boring. And that can be even rejecting a way a society is. For instance, at work, learning is supposed to be very exciting and creative, and it's supposed to be where you have that temptation energy, you have that drive for it, you have that deep craving for more. And if it's not connecting, it's your soul isn't connecting with that method. So you may be very different to be just got here. We are on the general energy. Yeah. Okay, so with the energy coming through, as I said, I am seeing many that you will start noticing, and you are going to have to be very in control of your own auric field in the next few weeks, and potentially all the way through the next 2 years. So the energy coming in can be a repeat of the conjunction. And it doesn't mean to say it's going to be as heavy. It's a bit like the aftermath of a Mercury retrograde. So some situations that are going to play out with the Aquarius moon can be very much connecting in with the Cancer Capricorn nodes of the conjunction and of the eclipse. Because in an eclipse energy, again, 6 to 12 months, that frequency is going to be moving through. It can be the aftershocks of things. And definitely with the conjunction, there can be aspects that play out during the week, where you're really going to see. And it's almost like a question that universe is going to ask you, are you sure? Are you sure about this? And it can cause anger. Very much use the traffic light term that I use, which is if you're angry, you're at red, stop. Look at the foundation, get grounded, think about how it's making you feel. Don't be angry that you're experiencing an emotion. You're having a humanistic experience. Yellow. Again, this is very much inner child, your direct power, how you're feeling about it. But again, it's pause. Let's think about this. Let's not proceed forward. Why is this pattern happening? Okay, and some of you intuitively may feel something is coming, and I think that's a very large energy really screaming through. That energy, again, if you have a very good relationship with your intuition and you don't question it and you don't question the path moving forward, you will be very fluid with receiving downloads right now, especially with the Pisces and Neptune frequency. You'll see between the realm of delusions and illusions. You'll see it clear as day, you'll smell it. So I am seeing you guys will tune into that, but you are going to notice lower frequency energies getting extremely triggered, and it can look like a tsunami. It can look like an actual panic attack. Animals at the moment, really, I'm seeing are getting a bit aggressive, getting a bit triggered. You may notice this with your pets at home. Again, it's sensory. So even animals directly are tuning into this. It is very quiet. The weather is directly changing and it feels very silent. I'm seeing the 9 energy. I'm seeing that your dreams at the moment are trying to tell you things. And again, your oversoul can really tap into other people. So if you, in a sense, are going into light body frequency, you'll get very tired because the direct situation you're rejecting and you're feeling you can't do anything about it. So what will happen is your oversoul and the other energies oversoul are directly in communication to try and help prepare you for what's to come. Now, I am going to pull cards. Everyone's gone so quiet in the house. I hope you've been keeping up to date with what I'm saying. Very much, if you are around energies that are getting triggered, and especially newbie twins that are coming on the path, it doesn't necessarily, look, if you've told the person what they are or if they've worked it out themselves, my thoughts are with them. Yeah, they're really touchy-feely at the moment. My cat's been acting loopy. Yes, animals are acting very bouncy. Like, how do I put it? Like, on edge. A little bit on edge. You're trying to process it. Well, everything I've said. So basically, those of you that are the next wave that are going in, the next awakened ones, right? When you're going, is this TF's energy? Is this mine? It can be that as well as more, because you are, once you're an open channel, you're directly channeling collective energy. So you will not only tune into that, you'll tune into the next, because you're actually helping anchor up the next wave. Sorry, guys, but it's the way it goes. That's our role. Okay. Yeah, so it's not going to be pretty to watch, but just, you know, how would you feel, right? You know, it's a different way of looking at it too. So, you know, when you're looking at your process within your spiritual path between your TF, and this is even anyone, even if you're looking at another person in their life process, you don't even have to be a TF. Look at how your process went in an education sense, and the way you learned things, and the way you achieved targets, and the way you see things. It's your own very unique experience, and it might have taken a lifetime to achieve. Maybe, you know, when ego then comes into play, looking at it, you can also feel the energy of, okay, empath energy, which is how would I do it. Now, if you're frustrated because you've experienced vibration, you're trying to save them some time, some things must happen. They're directly, like, how do you put it? It's part of the actual process. It can't be, some things have to be learnt. Allow that cycle to play out. But I am seeing their awakened state being quite aggressive. So especially if you've been like, my twin's not changing. This person in my family won't budge. They'll never change. No, that's not so. That's not so. Crowning energy. Making sense? Gratitude only directly comes through experience after the fact. It's not necessarily during it, because we don't actually see what the purpose is. If you have been through something, though, you will understand the purpose. Okay. Again, abundance, Capricorn energy. The light is not helping me show that. Abundance. Right. Buffalo. Okay. Any of you that are focusing in on your finance and what you're going to do and how things are going to go, especially with this Aquarius moon, again, like I mentioned, I do see aspects being made to the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. So if you guys have been struggling to get your finances back in order to do what you need to do, you're going to have some hints and hunches between now and next month. With those hunches, with the clues and the things you've worked on, it's going to give you a solution. But do remember, Rome wasn't built in a day. There's a method to the madness, but the universe is going to give you everything you need. They're a Taurus. Uranus is going through that. So these changes, the Taurian energies are really experiencing quite a bit of change, and it's evolutionary change. So it's abrupt changes coming out of nowhere, and it's quite tower momenty for Taurians. As I mentioned, to manifest anything, especially at a financial level, when we're frustrated, when we're scared, we create blocks because we're very 3D. We fall back to 3D. When you're detaching and you can't find any direct solution, this is where the solutions come from. It's like, yes, the worries are there, but you're holding them within your chakras. So it can actually, some people with that trigger point, it's about dropping the burdens. This can be dropping financial situations that aren't your problem, allowing other people to actually pick up their financial obligations, allowing people to actually take their own direct accountability. And where is yours? Every one of us have the tools we need to achieve these things. some sense of manifestation. And again, I am seeing hermit energy moving through the Aquarian moon, body recuperation upgrades. Your body also may be directly purging, so you might be going to the toilet a little bit more, you might be drinking more. Yeah, it's not nice, yeah, so, but it's the heavy burdens. But again, you start getting a build-up. You might see swelling occurring on your body. This could be fluid retention, and again, it's a spiritual blockage. So you both it can be your direct vibration, or it can be external people's vibrations, and you're absorbing it. Best solution, drink fluid. Allow your body to recoup and upgrade, and shower when you've been around toxic energies. You know, this can be grumpy people projecting at you, making you not feel so fantastic. If you don't have a solution, let go, tune into, okay, what is the goal? And then let go. Because while you're tuning into the problem, you're actually creating more blockages. If there is absolutely no solution and you've done all you physically can, go with the flow. Abraham Hicks. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. If it's not, it's not. Go with the flow, but take your direct action, but only place your energy into things you want to build. It's going to make you very rational, this Aquarian moon. This is interesting. Those of you that are, and I've used the Abraham Hicks cards, and this card's in reverse. What number is it? 3. Okay. From last year, because last year was a vibrational 3. This year's a vibrational 4, which is all about teamwork, duality in a sense of balancing your masculine and feminine. With the sun energy coming through in Leo next month, all of us within the Capricorn frequency, the sun energy, the masculine side of our lives, are going to be tuning into situations and actually be moving forward. Now, this card being in reverse is really positive. Conditions that affected my parents need not affect me. What did we just talk about before? Again, masculine, feminine energy. And that's for both parties. And this can be inner child work, but it's in reverse. So it's like, I feel many of you that are on the right path know that you might have felt like the outcast in your family, and they're going through this now. But this is something that you can't teach them. This is something that they directly need to experience. So, you know, think back to when you've tried to help someone and they've bitten your hand, and you've been like, I'm trying to save you. We learn things through experiences. So again, I'm looking at this, you know, for those of you that have learned it, you balance that and you're observing this now. So how you're observing other people, that's their time frame. You might be looking at the clock going, you need to hurry the hell up. This can even be connecting in with your TF, whoever it is. It's their process, and it's going to happen faster than what yours did. But think back to how long that took you. How long that took you to detach from, okay, this job is what potentially I thought from childhood. This way of being in my family was what was taught to me. This was the expectation on me. And then suddenly you realize, look, even if it's an expectation, it's not who I am. And all of a sudden you've got other things to do, and you're coming back to, you keep moving back to this push-pull energy. It's really anchoring you in. Other people are going through this now, and this is that temptation energy, the fear, the guilt, the anger, the aggression. It can also be addictive tendencies, where it can be where the person is feeling very triggered by the downloads and the energy. And I do anticipate this will keep increasing all the way through to the nodes changing. And then we're going to have 4 energies playing out that you're going to have to alchemize. So those of you that have been working on your finances, your belief systems, your ego, seeing things for what they really are, not feeling that because something is a certain way that you can't liberate yourself through adversity, feeling that you're an energy dancing in the matrix, not governed by the matrix, you're all good. And I hope you guys understand a word I'm bloody saying. Others are going to learn this very quickly, and it's not going to be fun. I need not compare my perfection to other people. Now, they're now seeing, right, that, wow, you've been through this. Why didn't I see this? Why didn't I learn this? Why do I have to go through this right now? And again, what could be potentially blocking your forward movement is tuning into time, tuning into why is this person talking to their twin? Why does this person have no contact with their twin? How long has your path been? How long has my path been? Your path is your path, but you could be directly blocking it because you're tuning in too much to comparisons. There are synchronistic things, and I'm happy to do videos based on that. There are things that happen, but everything is, again, it can be lack, the energy of lack. It is, but I really don't feel, and this was what I was tuning into this morning, nobody will have a choice. I mean, if you look at your own soul process, and I mean, if I look back, I mean, I've had a psychic gift since I was a child, and it developed over time. So when I understood and comprehended what was going on, I literally asked universe for a sign. That's when I started seeing numbers, and for a while I would see numbers, went through a process. That would have been 2016, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2000. So it continued. Once I really saw them very heavily, and I was really quite aware of it, there was a lot changing in my life. And I do know I started rejecting the job, connecting in with it, like moving, knowing my power, owning my power, really purging that factor. You then come to a different space where a lot of you will say, and lovely lady that I love the most, traveling soulist, I love it a bit. Hello. Haven't been in contact up because I've been flat out. She said she wanted a restraining order against numbers. Now, with that, the reason why you guys are seeing it, because at some point you wanted, it's a bit like saying, I haven't seen Source Guy, I love whoever you believe in. So how do I know it's true? And it's where you're having that spiritual conflict inside yourself. You're like, how am I supposed to believe everything's going pear-shaped? And then universe is like, okay, you need a sign, we'll give you a sign. Because you are connected, you just disconnected. So some of you that are psychic, you might say, it's gone. The gift is gone. No, it's turned off because you're 2-3D. While you're 2-3D, it turns off. When you actually listen and you're connected in with yourself, you're a sponge and you can manifest, you can attract energy, you hear, you feel, you sense, and you're tuned in. So what you're effectively doing is tuning yourself in right now. And once you have tuned in, you move and you no longer need the numbers. So they go quiet for a while and then they turn back on again. And it's a test. It's look inside yourself. And you really need to move towards the fact that when you're seeing them, it's not always connected in with one subject. If you're seeing it, is it relating in with the journey? Is it relating in with work? Is it relating in with the problem you're dealing with? How does it relate? But have you followed your intuition? Did you need the numbers in the first place? Because alignment is about acting from that place at all times. And if you're not doing that and you're making excuses for, I can't do this because of, I have a role over here, I can't do this because it's going to hurt this person, I can't do this because of money, I can't do this because of this and that, you're a manifester. So you're manifesting blockages, you're manifesting excuses, and then the universe then directly intervenes because you have 3 chances. Now, the astrology getting heavier means all collectively are shifting. All collectively is shifting, but don't compare, don't. And again, even stating some people won't wake up, that is comparison. That's an egoic experience. That's saying, even saying you're a twin can be an egoic process. It's, I'm special, even though a real twin flame. In general, twin flames, they ain't feeling so bloody special. They're feeling like they've had a lobotomy. It's not, I want to be a twin. No. If you're saying that, you're new to the journey, okay? If you are new to the journey, it's hard work and it hurts. It's like being chucked in dishwashing liquid on fast cycle, and potentially we had some gaps where it was like soak, spin, soak, spin, spit it out, soak. So it's not, and we can have that amusement in that process because we've been, we have been on the path for a while. And we understand that, yes, many of us will, hold on to that energy saying, oh, but it's got to be about romance. And then other readers will say, no, it's about your spiritual path. And yet at the end it is, because you so get to the point you're like, I just need to sort my shit. So I don't have to experience these downloads, these psychic attacks, this is it, isn't it, push, pull, run, chase, that you stop and you look at yourself and you don't go anywhere. Stefan, don't go anywhere. Stay where you are, because you're running from yourself. And you look and you're like, okay, now let me listen. What is going on here? How do I feel? What is this making me feel? Where is the repetitious pattern? Do I feel fear, shame, guilt, anger, love, hate? Your heart grows. Stay, okay? Move through the fear. Stay in the fear. Step into the storm. Stay in the storm, because you can't run from it. Because if you're going to have a change in your life, you have to stop running, because you're running from yourself. So while you're saying the twins running, there is always a hint on your side of the fence of something going on. There is a hint in your life at all times. There is a synchronistic pattern. There's also a 5D relationship you have, the dreams of your life you have, as well as what potentially could be happening in the 3D in your belief about it is an impossibility. The body is very responsive to an improved story. I haven't even looked at these cards, and I just ratted on about this. Don't compare. You're not your parents. Yes, you're not the other twin. Yes, you're not. It's not your story, and your ascension is not theirs. The way you do things doesn't have to be the way they did things. This is brothers and sisters, mothers, fathers, anyone who's in your life. Karmics, let it go. You can be different. So if you're different, doesn't mean they're going to be straight away. Not necessarily, but do you want to be different? Don't compare yourself. Your journey, their journey. Okay, so what's worse? What's better? So do you theoretically feel if you reached your potentiality in a year, it would be better? Think about how much you've gone through in your whole lifetime so far, then condense that into a year. Now, there's benefits to each side, right? I mean, I will say there's benefits. Oh, thank you, universe, for giving me a break in between and giving me a holiday, because that would have been full on. I'm just saying. And then, thank you, universe, for that process to be kind and brief and sweet and hard and straight to the point. It's 50-50, half glass full, half glass empty, right? So it's pointless comparing, because unless you lived that way, you wouldn't know. So don't even try and think about it. It is what it is. You are where you are. Now, rewrite that improved story. What are you wanting on the 5D? Stop dreaming about it. If this is entering your dreams, this can be a person, a place, a thing, a project. What are you doing? Why are you standing in your way? Have you been thinking about walking out on a situation because you're not happy? And you have to laugh, because we are amusing humans. We only laugh after the fact. Whatever you're doing in your life right now. Right? It's not, but you know what? It is, because the art of appreciation is. I mean, people get married. This is ego, right? Twin flame journey is not a fairy tale, but what is? Now, living a life in a relationship where you could have been in a relationship and that person at that point in time meant the world to you. Now, if you are still there, and this can be a job, it can be staying in a friendship, and Juno's going retrograde, so it's real relevant. This is coming up now. It can be a relationship, right? Anything, any interconnection, can even be your DNA, where you are trying to do something with a particular individual. Because yes, we can always have karmics attracted towards us, lessons, etc. Alignment is about checking in and saying, do I want to do this? Can I do this? Is this person working with me? If you're working with someone who isn't working with you, it can be tribe orientated. I can tell you, I've been having this conversation with my daughter. Many people in their ego be comparing. and saying it's your role. And this is why it connects in so well with astrology. Example, come the beginning of January, there were changes happening with my daughter. And this is at a spiritual level, and she's Aquarius. And I think it's funny because we're having an Aquarian moon. So first house activation, how she sees the world versus how she sees everything. And again, it's the water bearer, it's the emotions. It can be a very matter-of-fact black and white energy. And they're very unique in the way they connect. But they can be very, very easy to absorb frequencies around them, very susceptible. How do I put it? Okay, so what was playing out? There was a situation happening where an awakening has been happening for her for a while. Now, again, because the node's been in Cancer and Capricorn, it's to do with what we need to do versus who we're seen as in a role. And so some conversations happened between professionals, child and I. And the interesting statement came through and said, it's your role. You're the parent. And I was like, yes, that's correct. But in society, we need to look at things, right? So if you're in a direct responsible situation, let's be realistic. There are many mothers that don't take accountability. But there can be a direct mother that wants to take accountability, but potentially the other individual isn't working with you. So what then do you do then? The society with the Capricorn nodes is linking in with potentially if you've been a single parent and you've been working maybe Monday to Sunday, which at times, yes, that was where my life was, where you have to put your child into daycare. It wasn't I don't want to. I didn't want to. I had to because I was masculine and feminine. So that was then an expectation society had placed on me, including the natural paradigm of you're the woman, so it's your role to intuitively, empathically navigate, support, educate, nurture this person. Meanwhile, you're having to be the man at the same time. So these themes were coming out between my daughter and I, and a conversational piece with the mediator. And I said to her, but that's not what society provides these days. And it's no shade on man or woman. It's what we all effectively are working with right now. But again, this comparison of this is what you were expected to do. And our domain with our parents isn't like that anymore. It's not the same. With my grandmother, she lived in Europe. Now, in modern society, it's changed. So you may live near your parents if your parents are still alive, and not all of us get on with our parents, so let's just be frank, because there's karmic energies, there's spiritual teachers that come into our life. They can be other people that aren't our kin, but they end up being like that. So that's what I'm saying. Not all kin is blood. But you have karmic ties, you have spiritual lessons with those individuals. So conditioning of the energy, the Saturn and Pluto conjunction in Capricorn was ending. Potentially, go back and listen to the Leo King, shout out, 500 odd more years. Paradigms, right, breaking it down. So with that, when you look at it, in the old days, my grandmother lived in a village. They didn't have contraception. She had 14 children. 2 passed, and it was during World War II. They lived in a cave, and she had to feed a whole family on 1 chicken. Now, you did what you had to do to feed your family. Now, it wasn't about, do I love this person? It's, there's a war. The child has come into that domain where she now can bear children. I can't feed this child. To protect her, she needs to get married so she can have a protector. Then as a very young woman, had to then step into adulthood. No time for inner child wounds. And I do believe the video mentioned this the other day, where you didn't have the luxury to do that. But that's old paradigm. That's the old society structure that we were built on. Now we're more understanding that doesn't work. So people would have stayed in relationships for very rational reasons. Hunter-gatherer, protection, food, procreation, and society expectations, even religion. Now, as we've gone through an awakening process in that, the traditional families would have lived in very close proximity to each other. With growth, Capricorn, right? Nodes in Capricorn, societies, banks, building, education centres. Some of those roles that parents had was then switched over to other areas. School systems, traditionally, mum and dad would have done that. Doctors, mum and dad would have done that. Are you getting the gist? Are you seeing how much society has changed yet? A building will burn down, and I mentioned this to Mark as well. We're so nostalgic of the past, and it has taught us things, and it's the foundation from where we came, but is it relevant to now where we're going? I'll give you an example, global warming. Now, how many iconic buildings have burnt down? Now, with anything, if a foundation breaks down and it was connected in with history, our sentimental energy says, let's rebuild that. Is that really what's supposed to be happening? The memory of it, the endearment of it, the keeping it in history and speaking of it. The pyramids are there, right? So in theory, are we going to rebuild the pyramids? When meanwhile, we could have tsunamis coming, global warming, floods, but we're focusing all of our finances onto that. It's irrational behaviour. Capricorn notes. We're looking at society differently. And this is a shake-up in society. We're changing and we're shifting and we're looking at things. So this woman was saying to me, but it's your role as a parent. And I was like thinking of the astrology, and I'm thinking this is very amusing because I'm doing a lot of work on myself. You know, I'm very willing to take criticism. I'm very willing to look at astrology. And I'm also very aware that you can't work with another person, and especially Twin taught me this. If you ain't working with me, I can't work with you. So if you're investing in that, you're actually having no self-worth. And you're probably self-sabotaging yourself because it's not about you. Very much there could be something going on with that person. And it's like saying to a person, go to therapy. Meanwhile, they go to therapy and they don't want to be there. So what's the point? It's not going to work if they're not ready. Or a person having a trigger and they've been drinking, taking drugs, alcohol, and you're saying, you need to get better. But what if they don't want to? You can speak to the cows come home. If they're not energetically ready, this is a spiritual process. It's the Band-Aid they've used. The problem is deeper down. It's at the foundation. And unless they're holding that in their chakra system, they know what that is. Yes, it comes from the energy of belief systems, paradigms. It can be situations handed down. It can be DNA related. It could be emotional, spiritual, physical related. It could be society. And again, with the Capricorn nodes, there can be a lot of energy coming out with aggression with society. And I've been mentioning Eminem for weeks and weeks. And then bang, he released another album. And it's looking at the things where you can be white in a very broken down society and be like any other person. Now, how do I explain this? A subject matter, I am half caste of various races, right? So this is why I've never really bought into. I look at life and want to move forward. That's my perspective. It's not saying it's right. Grew up in New Zealand, went to school with Maoris. I thought I was Maori. I'll just say, because as a child, you don't look at that. You're doing your thing. You're feeling part of your tribe. And then when I came to Australia, that was a little bit different. And it's no shade. It's just really where society is. So, you know, him growing up with his people that he's trying to prove himself to, he was like the coloured person being looked at upon differently, but he was white. So there's no shade in white and, you know, colour. I mean, we don't even talk about colour these days. It's like, it's politically incorrect, but it's real. It's what's going on. These society foundations don't work. They're not relevant to us. Yes, they happened. Yes, let's respect from where we came from. But if there's this constant repent frequency going, we're directly not moving forward. So with it, this woman said to me, she goes, oh, but it's your job. And I thought, that's interesting, because I started tuning into karmic energies and I thought, empath is there for a person that can't help themselves. And this is where we were with Twin Flame, right? Victim consciousness. We all are victims, right? We all are perpetrators. We all go through these situations and be these things, but we potentially need to learn lessons. So yes, this has happened with me. And yes, with Aquarian energy, they're upgrading energetically and psychically. But you can be the best person under the sun. A lot of what's shown to you at the moment is who's going to be on that path with you. And everything is a choice. You are DNA related. So, yes, your parents might have done you wrong. It could have been they weren't able to work with you or you weren't able to work with them. It didn't mean, and some of you, there will be love there. They did the best they could with who they were, be that they were karmic or not. This is even something that can be playing out with you, with your tribe right now, because the Cancer eclipse is about, are those people coming with you? You could love them till the cows come home, but if their soul path, and there was one card that kept coming out in the roads, and it was a child looking at flowers like they had another plan. Yet you're looking at something, you're trying to educate, update, help, support, but those things have to happen naturally on their own accord. That could be with you. That could be with another person. That is divinely guided. You need to trust that process. Rewrite a story. Even if you're scared about what's happening right now, look at it and understand everything does happen for a reason. So you could be living at someone's house and suddenly that's not going to be. You could be having a person move out and then they come back and it's an upgrade. So your children, well, look, my child is my tribe, but spiritually speaking, you know, we come into people's lives and in society we're too conditioned to that as you respond. And it's not that the person's not taking responsibility. There may be energies and upgrades where potentially, you know, she has a path where she's supposed to go. So it's not saying they're not your tribe. Tribe evolves and changes as you do. So it could be where they could be with you. And I mean, they're going to get older anyway. So you could be dealing with, my daughter's 16 this week. Happy birthday, Shanice. So they're energetically going to grow and move, right? And some of them may directly relate to your spiritual journey. Some of them may have their own direct spiritual journey and wish to be elsewhere. But there are transformations there. But if we're too rigid in the thinking, your twin could have children. All of their kids could be with you. Then they could not be. It could be part of a soul contract and a situation playing out. So you just really got to be very much in your day-to-day and take each step forward and understand everything does happen for a reason. Thank you for saying that, Yildiz. I've been saying that for years, the addictions. Yeah, it's not a cause. So sometimes with particular energies, you might pick them as being narcissistic, but there's an underlying energy. And yes, there are narcissists on this planet. I'm not calling that out. But with a spiritual connection, if their energy at first wasn't like that and then it became like that through a way of being, it wasn't an initial innate way of being. It's not narcissism. There can be codependency frequencies going on. And that is the Band-Aid, and this is what I'm picking coming through this week. Be very careful with your triggers. You don't want to regress back, because with the temptation energy and the pressure that's coming up, I do feel a lot are detached and moving forward, and this is really what your focus is. So I'm not going to get triggered by what's happening in the 3D. I'm going to focus very firmly on where I'm going and what the story is going to be. And even if I don't have a solution to how it's playing out, I'm just focusing on that frequency, and that's very, very important to do. If something leaves your life right now, especially by next month, Juno going retrograde, don't freak out. Everything happens in its right time. Doesn't mean to say it's not returning, but sometimes cleanup needs to happen. Okay, this decision is going to be made for us. If you haven't already made the decision, when it does come to energies, and this, I'm even getting energies coming from the past, the new and the old meeting, clearing out and creating a new foundation. It's the decision's being made for you. Gratitude. You'll be happy after. You won't potentially through the process, and this is going to free you. So some people will be coming, some people will be going. There is going to be a shake up, a shift up. And I'm going to pull a chakra card. And I was sensing that. It's like there's a shift in energy, shifting energies. So if some of you have moved recently, you might have a flatmate moving. There's a shake up though. You could be planning your bed of daisies and then you get a phone call. It's like, and then they need you to go to another country. It's this shifting in storylines coming through. And I am seeing some actual, I'm not sure. I tune into a lot of things. I work with my energy in various ways. Okay, we were talking about children, right? If there is a child that isn't meant to be with you, they will be guided to where they need to be. They're protected, though. I'm not feeling a bad energy. This is part of their spiritual process, and it's like, don't compare your growth. And again, because I was channeling energies around you upgrading, potentially their upgrade can be very aggressive. So this can be, you know, especially if you're worried about them with toxicity, mixing with wrong people. It's all part of the spiritual process. If you have guided in the best way you can, soul energies that are upgrading, it is the spiritual path. They will learn very quickly, and this will help upgrade them. You energetically, how do I put it? If you've had time with this child, you've given enough to assist. And I do feel it's foundational. But whatever is happening is to develop that and to heal the inner child. It's all inner child by the Leo moon, okay? I'm telling you, some things to do with inner child, your childhood, movement, family. It's all coming up between now and the Leo moon. So again, it is the Cancer energy coming through, moving into the internal. Now, I have been saying with the eclipse that we had in Cancer, it does kind of link in with the sun energy because the eclipse is sun and moon, and sun is governed by Leo, okay? So with that, it's very much masculine, feminine. It's moving over again next month into the Leo, and it is going to be a full moon. So again, it's a purge. There can be masculines having a purge. There can be male energies that also can be to do with our finances and changes happening there. I'm actually really happy with my life right now, but yeah. Look, it's not to say that you're not, but there can be some shifts that, especially when we're very comfortable, we're like, having a pina colada, things can come out of left field. That's 3 energies, all of them in which, crowning energy, all inner child work. And I did mention sacral chakra. Okay. If there has been a person in their ego, a person in anger, fear, resentment. DM's birthday tomorrow. It's my twin's daughter's birthday today. I gave her a, what do you call it? I call it a cubby house. I don't know why I call it cubby house. A doll's house. Temptation. Okay, again, we did say this was activated. Tuning into it, you intuitively will know where this energy is going to come from. So if there is a person or a subject you're tuning into that's very separate to a love interest, I'm thinking it's surrounding that energy. This can be a toxic energy. It's going to come up in the next week to 2 weeks. What's uncomfortable? The gut. Yeah, a few times. Big time, really. Now I can laugh at me. This is a foundation moving. It is not... How do I explain it? I'm going to use the other cards. The energy that's coming through. Now, this can be an external influence. Now, anything to do with your family, your home domain, now the internet's going to stop. Sometimes I'm like, this is really weird with me. And I feel this is directly connected to people that are psychic. We muck with technology. Our crown chakra and our oversouls are very noisy, so we can actually bump technology off. And I tend to ruin my cars and technological things. Yeah, it's the frequency, and you'll give people electric shock all the time. It's me, because my energy is very big today, so I'm kind of keeping away from it. Now, the divine connection. This is a person who's very blocked in the 3D. This is a person who's getting very triggered. This can be karmic energies. This is also people around you, and I have channeled this information already. So it's just really repeating it. If there is a blockage and a situation playing out with children and family through separations, these subjects can come up. If there is an energy of toxicity and a person having health habits that aren't good for them, this also can come up. It can be, and you won't see it coming. You're a dog. Go have a cold shower. You'll be fine. Actually, they do say when you're upgrading your energy, that temptation energy is to be channeled into creativity. So if you can re-navigate that energy, Sally, I love you, lady. You come on, you know you're good at art. You'd be really good at art. Why am I hearing a very cheeky comment coming? I'm hearing it, I'm feeling it. She's getting the cheeks on. Okay, you're guided at the moment. You need to be very grounded. But present tense, people might be regressing back and wanting to talk about BS from the past. And you may be saying, I'm going that way. Again, this is the story coming up where you're trying to really actually articulate why you're so negative right now. And again, it can be some comparison energy in their process versus your process. I do feel conversations coming up between now and the next week. Feel free to ask questions. I'll probably pull 2 more cards and then I'll tune into all your questions. Love yourself. Yeah, love yourself. You're going to have to be very patient. Very patient. Okay, this is asking you to have forgiveness. Now, the crowning energy is stay present, and this is advice for this energy coming through. Compassion in reverse, detachment in reverse. And again, we have tuned into sacral chakra temptation all through the video. Inner child work. And look, when we have retrogrades, we tend to have that. When we have a person who is actually shifting in their energy, what can tend to happen is they can get very triggered and very much in their ego. So it's a battling of it, and it can actually come out like sputum. So we do have this energy that's going to be coming. Those of you that are in awareness, you're going to handle it, but you must understand, allow that, even if it means the person needs to fall, you need to let them. Forgive them. Stay patient. They'll probably hate you. You might find it amusing. Some people may find it amusing. So I feel really just detached with that frequency. But again, with the blockage in that chakra, you can white light yourself, and I would highly suggest that you drink fluid, eat orange food groups. If you can navigate where the energy is coming from, you can then tune out of that direct individual. If you just feel it's collective in general, you're feeling the frequency around you, again, you can do the same. You can breathe the energy out, but I am feeling intuitively you're picking up on something that directly is coming towards you. So as long as you're, on your A game with it and you're intuitively feeling it, get grounded. Now, I'm going to have to go because I do actually need to do my client's video. Well, look, alignment is about being true to yourself. So if you're taking, I'll just say it, sloppy seconds, and it's mean to them, it's mean to you. You don't want to do that. And it's like, that's temptation energy, man. It's like selling your soul to the devil. I mean, if you're not interested in the person and you're sharing your vessel, what a waste of energy. Go do some painting. Go have a cold shower. Go sort yourself out. I'm sure you can do it well. I'm just saying. But you don't want other people's energy in your life if your life is already feeling a bit mucked up and uncertain. That's accountable energy. For today, yes, I only do emergencies within the 8-hour gap. There's an opening between now and 8 hours. So if you're wanting it between the next 8 hours and earlier, it's emergency bookings. And anything other than that, from 8 hours beyond, it's open. And I do have a special up at the moment, so grab it while you can. And feel free to book a reading. If you want a time outside of that, inbox me. And that special's only up for 24 hours. So those of you who have visited my website, yes, you would get an email when I've got specials up, and I don't bombard you with emails. But if I do, you know, I do actually do that. Yes, I'm getting on it. Can you please tell me when I will experience ego death or how to ease the process? It depends on the subject matters that are coming up for you. I feel when you go through it, you tend to be more, how do I put it? It generally becomes worse before it becomes better. And then you get quite exhausted. So it doesn't happen all at once. It's a direct process. Yeah, well, 1 minute, doll. So it's a direct process. It'll come through and it'll be a large subject matter, and you can have several. So it can be in different areas, but it'll just become also exhausting where you'll just release, and then you'll be living in the moment. And being present in every day, and that's the present card that was coming up. It's just, okay, what do I want to do today? How do I feel? What is my mindset to do with this? But it's usually where you're really, really struggling. Yeah, it's really where you're struggling. Where you just completely let go. And you will, after the fact, find everything so very amusing. It's and it'll happen through various stages of your life, and then you'll just be, like I said, chucked in the washing machine, come out the other side, and you're just like, you won't project your energy as much towards other people. You'll gracefully look at things with reflective energy and understanding, compassion, and love. Yeah, and you'll wait more so and observe. You'll become like a Buddhist monk, quite frankly. Okay, a card for you, my love. What are you wanting to know with the card? It depends on the context of what you're asking, miss. And I do know this lady, so yeah. It's a very humbling experience. It's a bit like when you've retired, looking back at your life and everything just makes so much sense. What? And you see you through the vision of other people's eyes. You see you and other people. You see everything. You see. You see, you listen, you feel, you understand, you release. You even make peace with the fact that you don't have control. Where you did. You thought you did. Okay, Miss A, and I know you're a miss because I know you. Who are you helping? What is your belief system? Where are you stuck? You're getting pulled back off course. You're getting pulled back off what your plans are. Is someone guilting you potentially? Is somebody milking your... I have a few updates on DM, but it's just... Okay, so is this confusing you potentially? Because at the moment, what's coming through is you're getting a whole bunch of things that you had been manifesting, but they're all coming at once, and people are coming at you, and people have all sorts of solutions, and it may start feeling quite overwhelming. A. You have kindness and you have Have the courage to ask for and accept help. Okay, what I'm channeling from the card, and it's separate because you know I'm psychic, so I'm tuning into energy. Be careful of the opinions around you at the moment, because I do feel 3 energies around you that may have some advice for you. You're also scared about where you're going to live. I'm seeing an energy of accommodation. I'm seeing an energy of where am I going to live? Is it going to be okay? What if I am on the wrong place in the map and I miss my golden opportunity? I hope that answered your question. Any other questions while I'm here? No other questions, because I really do have to go. It's almost lunch. Otherwise, if you want me to tune into it further, please feel free to book a reading. No other questions. Anyone in the house? Thank you for liking the video. Those of you who are here, if you feel it's got relevant information to the next person, please do like or even comment, because it will help it in the feed. That's okay, Tracy. And yeah, collective energy, I'm telling you, with the sacral chakra is yuck. I'm not enjoying the sacral chakra energy. It's not my energy. I'm feeling pretty fine, but channeling it is really disgusting. And it has been there for the last 3 years. 3 years? Wow. Okay, who in the house has been dealing with a person that has been stuck in this frequency for 3 years? Is there a potential person in the house that has a person that has had an addiction? 3 years. 3 years, no movement. This is what I'm hearing. There's a separate message. There is a separate message here. That's 3 years. It's been 3 days for me, but this is quite specific. 3 years? Huh. Okay, it's budging. You're tuning into it. 6 years. Okay, this is shifting. This is amping up, and this is pushing it really hard. Yes, it does help the channel grow. And it does help the algorithm in YouTube, because YouTube will not share channels if they feel that subscribers aren't interested in the material. And so you guys are the voters. You're the ones who actually dictate whether it's watchable or it's not. If you feel it's watchable, feel free if you have any questions. Okay, well, I'm telling you, those of you for 3 and beyond, it would have been harder in the last 3 years. It's shifting, and I am seeing influences that were directly impacting this being shaken and moved. Being shaken and moved. Now, it can go on both sides of the fence, but there is environment that's changing. There's the way you're seeing it's going to change, and your physical foundation as well. Love and light, and I will speak to you